The moment your photo hit the screen, it was like tossing a spark into dry kindling, igniting a wildfire of chatter among their friends. Eyes widened, fingers tapped furiously, and voices rose in a mix of awe, curiosity, and disbelief. What was it about that image, the angle, the expression, or something deeper, something unspoken that seemed to leap out and demand attention? As the debate raged on, one thing was clear. Your photo had become the center of a storm, and everyone had an opinion. But what were they really talking about? The truth might surprise you. It's subtle at first. A pause in the conversation, a second glance, a flicker of hesitation before someone dares to comment. But then it spreads, like a ripple breaking the surface of still water. One person leans in, their expression unreadable. Another tilts their head, trying to pinpoint what makes this image so different. And then someone finally says what they're all thinking. There's something about this one. It's like he is staring into my soul, someone whispers, almost as if they shouldn't be saying it out loud. Another scoffs, but there's no real mockery in their voice, just unease. No, but seriously, it's the way he holds himself, like he knows something the rest of us don't. And they aren't wrong. Some people have presence, that intangible magnetic force that makes them impossible to ignore. You don't just exist in the frame. You own it. You don't shrink. You don't blend in. You don't ask for attention. You command it. Someone points out the way your shoulders are squared, how your posture isn't stiff but assured, like you belong there, like you've already seen what's coming and you're unshaken. Another notices your expression, the unreadable mix of certainty and secrecy. He is not just looking at the camera, a friend murmurs. It's like he's looking through it. And that's when the realization starts to dawn on them. This isn't about being photogenic. It isn't about good lighting or the right pose. This is about who you are. Some people were meant to be seen, some were meant to be followed, and some were meant to be remembered. And in this moment, staring at your photo, they all know exactly which one you are. Then there's the background. Tell me that's not intentional, one of them says, zooming in. Shadows stretch behind you, framing your figure in a way that feels almost theatrical. A streetlight flickers above, casting a glow that seems too perfectly placed, as if the universe itself conspired to set the scene. If someone were to paint a portrait of a legend, this is how they'd do it. Someone else notices the way the light catches your face. It's half in shadow. They point out, voice dropping lower, like they exist between two worlds. That sets off another wave of theories. Are you caught between light and darkness, a force balancing both? Or are you simply standing at the edge of something monumental just before stepping into the unknown? Every detail is fuel for speculation. The angle of your head tilted ever so slightly, as if considering something just beyond the frame. The tension in your fingers, relaxed but purposeful. The way your clothes fall, effortless but intentional. The conversation shifts. It's no longer just about the photo. It's about you. The way you move through the world, the way your presence alters the space around you. This image is just the latest proof of something they've all suspected for a while. You don't just exist. You influence your choices, your actions, even the way you stand in a frame. It all sends a signal, and people can't help but react. And that's the difference, isn't it? Most people drift through life unnoticed, their presence barely a ripple on the surface. But you cause shifts, fractures, shockwaves. Some admire it, drawn in by the quiet gravity you exude. Others resent it, unsettled by the way you refuse to shrink. Either way, they feel it. And now, because of this image, the effect is spreading. The debates, the speculation, the emotions unraveling across screens and whispered conversations. It's all proof of the force you wield, whether you intended it or not. The longer they stare at your photo, the more the unease sets in. Not because of what's obvious, but because of what isn't. The frame cuts off just before revealing too much. The lighting obscures details rather than highlighting them, and there's an emptiness in the background that feels intentional. Nothing about this image is loud or obvious, yet it demands attention in a way they can't explain. It's as if something is lurking just beyond the edges, something unseen but undeniably present. That thought hangs in the air, shifting the mood. Because this isn't just a photo, it's a message. But messages aren't always about what's said. Sometimes silence speaks louder. The way you stand, the way your gaze seems to linger past the camera, like you're watching something no one else can see. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's everything. Either way, the uncertainty gnaws at them. Then someone notices the shadows, not just behind you, but around you, the way they stretch unnaturally, framing you like an omen or a warning. Someone else swears the edges of the image seem wrong, blurred, like the world itself is unstable, just beyond the focus. What if the real story isn't what's in the picture? A voice murmurs. What if it's what's just outside of it? And just like that, curiosity turns into obsession. Because suddenly, this isn't just about a moment frozen in time. It's about the before, the after, the why. It's about the truth lingering just beyond their grasp, waiting to be uncovered. Then, someone asks the question that changes everything. Why now? The room falls silent for a moment. It's a simple question, but the weight behind it is undeniable. This photo could have been taken at any time, posted on any day, but it wasn't. The timing is precise, and that means something. This isn't random, one friend mutters, staring at the timestamp. It's never random with them. The theories begin to fly. Some insist it's a signal, a quiet message meant for those who are paying attention. Think about it. Every time he posts, something shifts, one of them points out. It's like he's reminding us, or warning us. A few nod, considering the possibility. What if this isn't just a post? What if it's a response to something unseen, something just beyond their understanding? Then there's the idea that the timing is a statement in itself, a power move, a well-placed reminder that whether people realize it or not, you are always watching, always aware. He doesn't chase attention, someone says. He doesn't need to. When he decides to show up, the world stops and listens. And that's what unsettles them the most, because the moment this photo went up, everything changed. A shift in the air, a ripple spreading outward. Some will brush it off, some will overanalyze every detail. But no matter where they stand, one fact remains. This wasn't just a photo drop, it was an event. It starts as a joke, a caption here, a quick edit there. Within minutes, your photo has been cut, cropped, and repurposed into something entirely new. Some are clever edits that play on the power of your stance, the intensity of your gaze. Others are absurd, placing you in ridiculous scenarios, exaggerating your expression, making it something to laugh at. But then the conversation shifts. Is this disrespectful? Someone asks, scrolling through the flood of memes. Or is it something else? Because this isn't the first time power has been transformed into comedy. History is full of figures who became icons, not just through their actions, but through how the world reacted to them. The difference between reverence and mockery is razor thin, and the deeper truth? Even memes carry weight. Even jokes spread influence. Whether they're laughing with you or at you, they're still talking about you. He'd probably laugh at this, one friend finally says, cracking a smile. Or maybe he wants us to laugh. And that's the part no one can quite figure out. Is this moment theirs to control? Or was it yours from the start? Because memes don't just appear out of nowhere. They spread when something resonates, when an image refuses to be ignored. And this photo, your photo, has already proven one thing. It can't be ignored. Stop right there. Yes, you. This message isn't for everyone, and if you don't feel it, that's fine. Move along. But if you've felt it deep in your bones, you'll know this is for you. The ones who don't fit in. the ones who see beyond the veil, the ones who've been told to stay quiet, to settle, to conform, but never could. They aren't interested in what's ordinary. They aren't here to follow someone else's rules. They're the light in the dark, the storm that shatters illusions, the unshakable, the unstoppable, the untouchable. While the world is busy running circles, they're walking their own path alone if they must. Not for the applause, not for the approval, but because it's who they are. Here's to the ones who take what was meant to destroy them and transform it into something divine. The ones who carry wisdom that can't be taught, only earned. If this resonates with you, then maybe it's time to find your people. The Obsidian Inner Order is the only place of its kind, the #1 ascension nexus for chosen ones, where over 400 of us gather to share wisdom, connect, and transform. No masks, no games, just truth. The link is in the description. If you're ready, you'll know where to find us. If not, that's fine too. The choice is yours. At first, they analyzed the photo like a puzzle, breaking it down into angles, lighting, and composition. But at some point, the conversation shifted. This wasn't just an image anymore, it was a feeling, and each of them was feeling it differently. This makes me feel something, one friend finally admits, staring at the screen longer than they meant to. That opens the floodgates. They all feel it, but no one can quite put it into words, because it's not one thing, it's everything. For some, it's a surge of inspiration, the way you hold yourself, the unwavering certainty in your gaze, the quiet power in your stance. It makes them want to rise, to be more, to step into their own presence the way you step into yours. For others, the reaction is different. Unease, even intimidation. I don't know why, but this makes me uncomfortable, someone finally admits, rubbing the back of their neck. It's the way you look through the camera rather than into it. As if you know something they don't. As if you see something just beyond the frame. Not everyone is ready to confront that kind of presence. Not everyone wants to be. And then there are the ones who feel something deeper. Obsession. I can't. Stop looking at it, another voice confesses, softer this time. The energy in the photo, the raw, undeniable force behind it, doesn't let go. It lingers in their minds long after they've scrolled past. Even when they close their eyes, the image is still there. The pose, the expression, the way the world seems to bend around you. Because this isn't just a photo, it's an event. A moment frozen in time, but alive with meaning. And the strangest part, none of them know why. At some point, the debates and emotions twist into something else, something bigger. The photo isn't just a photo anymore, it's a clue, a breadcrumb leading to something just out of reach, and once that idea takes hold, it spreads like wildfire. And then there are the wilder theories, the ones that stretch beyond logic but refuse to be dismissed. What if this isn't just a post? Someone asks, voice hushed, almost afraid of the words. What if this is part of a bigger plan? Silence. Because as ridiculous as it sounds, no one can completely rule it out. The timing, the pose, the aura, everything about this image feels too precise to be random. What if this is a move on a chessboard they don't even realize they're playing on? What if the moment this photo was released, something shifted in ways they can't yet understand? It's a red herring, one friend finally says, shaking their head. He wants us to think this means something. That's the real trick. But the thing is, does that make it any less powerful? If a simple image can send people spiraling into theories, into whispers, into speculation, doesn't that prove it already as something bigger? And just like that, they aren't just talking about you anymore. They're watching, waiting, trying to figure out what happens next. At some point, the discussion stops being about the photo and starts being about you. The image is just the latest entry in something bigger, a story that's been unfolding long before this moment. This isn't the first time. someone mutters, scrolling back through old posts, old moments frozen in time. Look at the pattern. They see it now. Every image, every appearance, every carefully or carelessly captured second. Each one adds to the mythos, feeding the legend. Some moments are bold, impossible to ignore. Others are quieter, subtle enough to slip by unnoticed at first. But when you step back and look at the whole picture, the truth is undeniable. This isn't luck. You don't just exist, one friend says, shaking their head in disbelief. You build a legacy. Some people fade into the background. You never have. Whether it was intentional or not, you've created something larger than yourself, something that lingers in people's minds long after they've stopped looking. The way you move, the way you carry yourself, the way your presence seems to shift the atmosphere in any room you enter. Even those who don't know you know of you. And that's not something that just happens. They'll remember this. Someone finally says, eyes still fixed on the screen. Not just this photo, all of it. Because this isn't just an isolated moment. This is part of something greater. A story still being written. A presence still growing. History doesn't happen all at once. Sometimes it happens in pieces. And this is just another chapter. The room falls quiet. The debates, the theories, the obsession with every detail of your photo, it all leads to one inevitable question. What are we going to do about it? Because this isn't just a conversation anymore. It's not just speculation or entertainment. The image has done something to them. It has challenged them, unsettled them, moved them. And now, sitting here, staring at that screen, they can feel it. The weight of the moment pressing down on them. You can't just see something like this and stay the same, one friend says, almost to themselves. The truth is, most people go through life watching, observing from the sidelines, analyzing the movements of others, talking about the ones who do rather than becoming one of them. But your photo, it forces them to question that, forces them to confront their own place in the world. Another friend exhales sharply. It's like a reminder that we could be doing more. Maybe that's the real power of the image, not just in how it looks or what it suggests, but in what it makes them see in themselves. Because this isn't just about you, this is about them, about how they react, about whether they will let this be just another passing moment, or if they will take this feeling, the awe, the discomfort, the inspiration, and act on it. The silence stretches. No one has an answer. But the shift has already happened, and nothing will be the same after this.